Do you think your family is crazy? Then think again. This is Fear Thy Family from the My Crazy Family podcast.
You ever hear of Chris Watts? He's the guy in that Netflix special that came out a little earlier this year. And he's also the guy, I know that really narrows it down, that Netflix special. He's a guy who confessed to killing his wife and 2 daughters before stashing their bodies in an oil field. He's that Chris Watts, as opposed to the guy that works over at the Family Video that just checked out your... Do you check anything out? Is that place even around anymore? He's the man who just a few nights before he took the lives of the people he claimed to love, texted such horrific and stunning text to his wife as being asked, "What kind of vegetables do you want for dinner tonight?" From his wife. "Broccoli works," he responded. And then, "Green beans work too." And then he killed his family. So not exactly a good judgment there of his character just by those texts, but it's not usually what I think you'd expect from someone who's going to go kill your family. But turns out some good is coming out of this as the investigators in this case are now using what they've learned and they're sharing it with other investigators so they can try and come to conclusions and try and get people like Chris Watts to confess. The tactics that they used are now being taught. And by the way, he wasn't just saying broccoli works. He was having an affair as well. Watts was already embroiled in an affair with Nicole Kessinger, who was a colleague from his work. And upon learning about Shannon's murder, Kessinger said, "Okay, not going to be your jailhouse lady that comes and visits you." No. She cooperated fully with police, giving several interviews about the man who she thought was single. Chris Watts' confession to killing his wife and 2 daughters and burying their bodies in an oil field has now been made public for the first time. So the 2 law enforcement professionals, FBI Special Agent Graham Coder and CBI Field Agent Tammy Lee, share their experiences and expertise at the 2022 Northeast South Dakota Family Violence Prevention Conference in Aberdeen. The remarks were their first public statement since the murders of the Watts family, and they were made in front of an audience of 200 social workers, prosecutors, educators, and medical professionals, people who likely deal with folks like Chris on a weekly basis, and half the time, we never know exactly who they are or when they're going to strike. But getting some information into the psyche of people like this, if we can even truly do that, at least that's what they're attempting to do. The goal was to train local service providers to recognize and intervene in cases of domestic violence. Coder claims that after questioning Watts for 6 hours after he failed the polygraph, Watts then admitted to killing his family. Coder claimed that a man had admitted to all of his wrongdoings after the discovery of his family. There was no other option, he realized. He explained his actions to us. How you exactly make sense of that, I don't know. But if it can edge the professionals who are out there in the field to get a little bit closer to recognizing some signs and maybe being able to do something about it before it gets to the horrible tragedy in which this man killed his wife and his 2 innocent little children, then maybe some good came out of this. Watts pled guilty in November of 2018, less than 3 months after the murders, in order to avoid the death penalty. 5 counts of first-degree murder, 1 count of unlawful termination of pregnancy, and 3 counts of tampering with a dead body. Oh yeah, did I mention that? His wife was pregnant. It added up to 9 convictions for him. He's been given a life sentence and is currently incarcerated in Wisconsin, it is not possible to grant him parole. So he will be there for the rest of his life. And I imagine what these investigators went through while prosecuting this case will also haunt them for the rest of their lives too.
This has been Fear Thy Family from the My Crazy Family podcast. Share your crazy family stories now at crazyfampod.com and press subscribe and listen for new full episodes every Monday and Wednesday of My Crazy Family.